All right, guys. Well, thank you so much for coming to this talk at Google, where we have the amazing Hannah Hart with us today, who we know is everything from My Drunk Kitchen to your #NoFilter live series and countless other things. I myself am an administrative business partner at our alphabet company, Verily. My name is Brenna, and it's so exciting to be here today.
Yay! Thanks for having me, Brenna. Oh, the crowd goes wild. It's not a bad way to spend a Friday at Google, right?
No, I mean, for all of us, we've got the weekend ahead of us, so
that's
just
true.
Feeling good. I mean,
weekend.
Weekend, yeah.
Okay.
I like it's when we take off work for like 20 minutes and then we start up again.
Oh, okay.
Someone's got to run the company.
That's the one downside of like living with your boss in your head, because there's no passage of time. Yeah, you're always at work.
I mean, you got to make your own clock. Is that just like
the hardest thing in the entire world? Yes. It's very hard. Thank God I have a team that helps me structure myself, because structure is not something I was born with an innate ability to do.
Oh my goodness. And when you get into that in your book, and I have to say, I'm definitely going to dive into that, because there were some points in your book where I was like, I need some life advice, and she's going to give it to me. But I want to just get to where we are here today. Here we are talking about your memoir, and it's so vastly different than your last book. We had My Drunk Kitchen. How did we get from that to buffering?
Well, I would say that with My Drunk Kitchen, the cookbook, it was really just like the way I think of My Drunk Kitchen, because I actually get asked a lot, like, oh, are you always going to do My Drunk Kitchen? Are you ever going to stop making YouTube videos? And I always feel like that's like asking someone if they're ever going to stop, like, tweeting or something. Yeah. It's like, why would I? Like, I love social media. I love to share my experience. I love to take Snapchat pictures. I love to post stuff on Instagram. Like, I love to make content. Yeah. It's a joy for me. And so with My Drunk Kitchen, the first book, it was kind of like paying tribute to the reason that I had gotten to where I was, and also it was just a lot of fun to make and fill with awesome pictures, and all totally unique at the time of making the cookbook. I was super proud of this. They were all completely unique recipes.
That's amazing.
I wanted to come up with new recipes instead of just regurgitating the recipes from the series. Mm-hmm. That was very important to me. But yeah, so My Drunk Kitchen will always be like near and dear to my heart. I like to think of it as the phrase, dance with the one that brought you. It's like My Drunk Kitchen brought me to this wonderful ball, and I'm going to have a great time and dance a lot of dances with a lot of different people, but My Drunk Kitchen brought me, so yeah, going home with them.
I love that. And so your buffering is a lot of your journals through the passage of time here. And as you're reading it, you're going through so many different writing styles, whether that's a poem to your first college lover, or prose about your childhood, or your short story about you and your sister. How were you able to bring all of that together into this cohesive memoir?
Wow, that is a great question. And also, thank you for bringing that up. And I really appreciate you reading the book. And
it was fantastic, guys. Read it.
Fantastic book. Okay, good. We got a good review.
We connected on a lot of levels. You don't know this yet, but
I think that what I really liked in writing the book is that, the process of it was really different from how I thought writing a book would be. It was like to allow myself to, okay, so I guess I have to start from here. Being an author is not my full-time job, right? So like I have a day job of like my entire other career, going to Australia for the No Filter tour, filming a movie called Dirty 30, promoting that movie, selling a TV show to Food Network, making 2 videos a week, and maintaining all the systems that run, outside of the things that you immediately see about running the brand. So writing, though it is like my most near and dear, most intimate form, the thing I love the most, is really hard to carve out time for, because when you write, it's not like, oh, I'm going to write for 4 hours and I can guarantee the amount of work that I will have done, So I let myself just kind of do whatever I wanted. And then with the help of my fantastic editor, structure it in a way where we found the circle. Yeah. Because it was really important, and this is something that having an editor was so crucial for, because I'm too close to the experiences, because I'm trying to write them as like detailed and like really pull you in. So it's really hard to get a bird's eye of the order that they should go in. Yeah. To come to a full loop. The whole first pass of the book is actually in a different order because I, to the delight of everyone who works with me, suddenly realize things and then need to restructure. And so the restructuring of the book, the chapter about Naomi was way early. That's my older sister, way earlier on. And I restructured the beginning journey and the end journey. And I really, really like the way it turned out.
That's so funny. I took note of that when I was reading it and got to the last chapter. I was like, I'm super curious. And so there's a lot of thought there.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
It's a great book, guys.
Great book. Go out, read it, buy it.
Yeah.
And I have to say, so the title alone, when you're talking about buffering, and for those who'll have the chance to read it, it's processing and boundaries coming together, and that is what buffering is. When did you come up with this aha moment that was, it seems so profound, as
oh, thank you. Well, there were 90, at around page 95 of writing, of just word gut writing, I realized that what I was missing, I was telling stories, but I wasn't telling my story. I was telling stories from my life, but I wasn't telling my story. So I thought, okay, how can I get back in? And so that's when, probably around October, I turned to the journals. And I was like, oh my God, this is a brilliant structure. This is how I processed everything. Oh my God, processing, buffering. Oh my God, that should be the name of the book. It was kind of one of those thought processes where you're like, this is exactly the perfect name. Because I wanted to merge the digital and the tangible. And I wanted to say, these are the unshared stories. I've shown you what I've been comfortable showing you, but these are the things that take more than 140 characters, take more than a 4 to 6 minute vlog to talk about. Yeah. And so that's how I came to the title Buffering, because it's that wheel is that boundary that allows you to fully process the data of your life before it's something you're ready to show.
I really love that. And I mean, just talking about that, going from a 4 to 6 minute vlog or from a tweet, your book is really intimate and it has a lot of secrets of your past and your present. How did it feel to just bare that all to your readers?
Well, I think that the last week of my life has been so intense because when I've always used writing as an outlet, so writing it out has always been really familiar, because like I said, always journaled. I studied literature in college, so I was a really good analytical writer. So turning that analytical mind just inward and using it to realize what the crux of everything was, and also just frankly the time in my life I've had away from a lot of the issues that are in the book. But putting that all together and sharing it has been the most intensely vulnerable experience of my life. We did a whole week, we did a meet and greet before the book came out, or a signing, the first and second day of the book coming out. And only a handful of people at the signing the day of had read it yet, and the signing the day before, nobody had even gotten it yet. And then the second people started reading it, it was the energy of the signings changed. I felt people were like, I read the book. And it's suddenly someone being hey, I see you.
Yeah.
And it's the most incredible feeling in the world. I think that anybody that grows up in a household where you have stuff that you have to hide, or whether or not you have to hide it, inside you're hiding something.
And processing it.
Well, that comes later in life, but yeah, exactly. But you don't really feel as seen by other people, growing up, people are like, my mom's crazy. And I'd be like, yeah.
You have no idea.
Yeah, or be like, it's the excitement. Or it's the holidays are really stressing me out. And I'm like, yeah. It's just it's trying to find, I love connecting to people, and I've so much of my life, I've felt like I could see, I'm trying to get in from this side, and buffering makes me feel like I am, or I'm seeing people that I didn't know were hiding stuff too.
Absolutely. Really that shared human experience. And you can feel it when you're reading it. It's just kind of whether you're talking about coming out and getting responses from your YouTube family, it really seems like you've gotten an outpouring of just support and just a lot of emotions.
A lot of emotions. Literally last night, because it's it's so intense to have people comfortable sharing things with you. And I see a lot of it online. And it's, there's that distance. There's that separation when you're reading something over text, you're reading a comment, you're reading someone writing a blog post and tagging you. There's a separation there. But when you're in a signing line and that they know what you wrote in that book, Hannah, But people take that like 20 seconds and they tell you something incredibly intimate about their life, and then they thank you for helping them with that. And it's such an honor. It's just so, it's like, wow, thank you. I am so glad. You know what I mean? And all I did was just like really try and work on myself.
Selfishly, I was here for me.
Yeah, well, yeah, or just like really just wanted to share, and like it's the most incredible connection. Last night, I think it just kind of all hit me because it had been 1 week or just about a little over a week, and it just all hit me, and I just was like, I was like crying, but not like sad crying, but just like humans are so precious. Cry, like literally, I said that out loud. I was like, people. Wow, it's an incredible feeling to be able to look at people and see everyone is special.
Absolutely. We're our most important resource.
We are!
I agree. And so it seems to be kind of just this trend in your life where it's sharing, it's giving. For those who don't know, My Drunk Kitchen came out of a love and a desire to help your friend Hannah Gelb just kind of heal from across the country, from New York to the Bay, back to the Bay. And so all of that giving has reaped such success. What are you hoping to see with this? I mean, you're shedding all of yourself. I mean, we're 10xing here in the words of Google. We are 10xing.
I don't know what that means.
Doing it 10 times bigger.
Yeah. Okay, there you go. I am 10xing. I guess it's like, I don't know. I feel like, My Drunk Kitchen created Harto, and buffering is allowing Hannah Hart to step into the forefront. And it's interesting because it's like, I know what Harto stands for, right? It's the idea to like practice reckless optimism, which is, taking away all the naivety of optimism. It's that you can be fully aware of your circumstance, fully aware of the odds that are with or against you, and you're choosing to be positive about it. You're like 70-30, huh? Well, let's really hope it works out.
Let's do it. We got 30% still.
Yeah, we got 30%. Exactly. It's like, that's reckless optimism, you know?
Absolutely.
And so now, as like Hannah Hart, it just kind of feels like I don't know what's coming next, but I'm really happy to be right here. And so as long as I stay happy in the present, or as long as I continue to pursue like contentment in the present, I'm hoping things work out.
I mean, that's all we can hope for in the end.
No such thing as the future, though, right? Really? It doesn't exist.
Let's say it doesn't live right now.
Yeah.
Just painfully existential.
It's true.
Well, and in that same vein, when you have Harto and you have Hannah Hart, do you think buffering was an opportunity to bring those two together? And I mean, you've had so many life events that have happened recently, whether it's your coming out, whether it's really helping to save your mother. Do you feel that those two worlds are colliding now, or are they still separate in nature?
Wow. That is a great question. It feels like your childhood friend and your childhood best friend and your college best friend or your coworker best friend are like getting married. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And they're like, it's like that, because it's like, it's definitely like a partnership is forming between those two sides of yourself, or two different ways of knowing yourself. It's when I meet people are like, I feel like I know you, and I'm like, you do. You know the last 5 years of my life. And buffering is everything that happened before that and everything that happened behind that.
Absolutely.
And so I don't know what this means like strategically, but I do know that I feel more like a balanced version of myself and less like a hyperbolized version of myself. That being said, I'm still going to get drunk and like make a bunch of jokes.
I mean, if you stopped, I think everyone in this room would be very terrified.
I would be terrified. I'd be like, what?
I mean, there's nights where I try to do the same thing. I'm just not nearly as good of a chef. I go back to that first episode,
right? Yeah.
Where it's like I forgot I didn't have cheese.
Practice makes perfect. It's weird. Like I know so much more about cooking now, and I sold a show to Food Network, and I get to talk about food on it. But I'm not gonna say anything more because I can't yet. Shh.
Confidential, proprietary information.
Exactly. But yeah, no, it's amazing what you don't realize you're learning because you're in the middle of learning it.
That is amazing. And I mean, through your book, you talk about kind of this journey to find this balance. And we have a company full of overachievers. What has helped you the most really kind of find that work-life, personal balance?
Personal? No, I'm kidding. Well, therapy obviously is really big. Finding the right medication is really, really big. I use Headspace all the time. It's a great meditation app.
I have that app as well. Googlers.
you should get it. It's like Headspace is really, really great. Totally like, not from if you don't have a big spiritual or like you think religion is blah, 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 Headspace is the most like secular, just like, here you go. This is the facts kind of app for meditation. But how do you find that balance? It's still something I'm really working on. It's kind of like going to the gym. It's like sometimes you're like, man, I went to the gym 3 times a week last month and I felt great. And it was great. It's like self-care isn't something that ever stops. And that's really frustrating because it's like you dip. You're like, oh man, like why do I feel so overwhelmed over here or like so sad over here? And that's just going to happen. I think that balance is knowing that there are peaks and valleys and just trying to lessen like the peaks and valleys between them. Maybe
take away the extremeness a little bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and it seems as though in the past 2 years, you've had a lot of come to truth moments. What you're coming out and doing that so vocally on the internet. How is that kind of being an out and proud LGBTQIA+++ individual like help define your next steps or what's how is that for you?
It was a huge confidence builder. I mean, like, it was amazing for me. Like, that's the thing, too, is that, like, people, like, I feel like everybody's like, thank you so much. I'm like, no, seriously, guys, I'm living my dreams. Like, I am so happy, and I'm so blessed, and I'm so lucky to be in the position I'm in. When the coming out process was long and involved as it is for many who have to come out about something. And I also feel, by the way, this is just like something I want to say, is that there are different things you can come out with to yourself. It doesn't have to just be your sexuality. You can come out and be like, you know what? I think I might actually have depression. Like, you can come out and be like, you know what? I don't really know if this is the career path I want. Like, there's different moments of self-realization that you have to have with yourself.
Absolutely.
Literally, because it's self-realization. But with the coming out series, I fell in love for the first time when I was 19. It took me like a year and a half to really accept that it wasn't girl, it was girls, because that meant accepting my own heartbreak, which was tough. I go into it a lot in a great chapter called Shadow Boxer. Really good title for that chapter. And
you should mention that's a self-shadow boxing.
Yeah, exactly. See?
Beautiful analogy here.
My shadow boxing. Oh my God. It's good.
Really good play on words. I loved it.
So much. Yeah, I'm so happy. So many times, because shadow boxing is one word. So many times I just send it back to the copy editor and be like, it's one word. Just put it one word. So anyway, so from there, it was like coming out to your friends and your immediate circle of support, like the people that you know will love you. Yep. And then your extended family. Forget them. And then, just kidding. Then
can't choose your family. So
and then it was moving to New York, because when I moved to New York, I lived in San Francisco right after college. I went to college at Cal, go Bears, and then I moved to New York. And when I got there, this is the first time I'd ever left the Bay Area in my life. When I got there, they were like, "Oh my God, so do you have a boyfriend or what?" And I was like,
"Don't ask me that."
I was like, no, also, I'm gay. Like,
And what do you, New York, think about that?
Yeah, like, what do you, person I've never met before? And, like, I'm here on the East Coast. What's it like? I grew up in the Bay Area, which is, like, a very different temperature on a lot of issues. And so it was coming out every day in those moments. But to answer your question, which is a good one, I feel so honored and privileged to be an LGBTQIA+++ role model. Awesome. And I feel a great responsibility to educate myself and to open my heart and open my mind to issues that don't only include my direct experience.
Absolutely.
So that's the edit all that other stuff out.
And I do think your experience being a memoir is so key here, and talking on coming out about different things. One of the things that I find so fascinating and kind of the zeitgeist of what's going on right now is more and more public figures like yourself who outsiders see as so gregarious, and you're funny all the time and you're always on. In this book, you really touch on like this very seriousness, like openly admitting I'm an introvert, and Amy Schumer's recently done the same thing in her memoir. What is it about this kind of like what seems like a dichotomy to your viewers and everything?
Well, I'm a big believer in like the Myers-Briggs assessment over the introvert-extrovert assessment, because like if I'm an extrovert, then I'm an extrovert that spends a lot of time in their head. If I'm an introvert that loves the company of others. You know what I mean? Because it's more balanced than that. So it's tough. I guess, for like if we judge it by on what recharges your batteries, like I definitely need time alone to myself.
Yeah.
I really need, and that's part of my self-care. I need to take walks. I have to journal. Like if I'm feeling like overwhelmed, I really need to write it out, and I know that. I need to just spend time centering. I think that for a lot of public figures, you spend so much of your life on export that you have to know what is your version of import. And there are some of us that work in this industry that their import is being on a stage. Yep. They love applause. They love live performance. I know a lot of people who are my friends who are like, I got to get back on the road. Like they feel stifled by having to spend all their time at home or on sets. They're
Life
like,
as a civilian.
Yeah, well, they're like, I want to get on the road. Like I need to like perform to a crowd. I need to like see people. So I think it really just depends on the public figure.
And do you find, with your Harto tour, or Hello Harto, you were doing the Have a Heart Day. Do you find that is part of your kind of recharge? It's so beautiful. So Hannah has this campaign where when she's on tour, she'll be doing, and it's continuing on Beyond You.
It is. It's continued on me. In 2013, I ran a crowdfunding campaign with Indiegogo called Hello Harto. And originally, it was like 50,000. It was going to be my goodbye tour. For the record, and I go into that more in the book, but it was going to be my way of being like, hey, you know what? I spent a year in LA, not sure entertainment's for me, but I want to thank everyone that even gave me the chance to explore this career path. So I was going to hit 10 cities for $50,000, and that's
22 in the end.
It ended up being 22 cities. We raised over $200,000, and we went to each of these cities across America and Canada, and we'd arrive and we would do a volunteer event at a local food bank, shoot an episode of Hello Harto, the mockumentary travel show, which is a great, hilarious show that everyone should watch.
Man down, it's okay.
Man down, tab down. Love them and leave them, am I right, you guys? These are called laughs. And then shoot an episode of My Drunk Kitchen.
Yeah.
And in those volunteer days, we called them Have a Heart Days, and it was our way of doing the meet and greet in the city. And what was so amazing is that after Hello Harto ended, there were cities that kept volunteering together because it was a wonderful way to meet and make friends. We have a great Have a Heart Day here in San Francisco.
November 8th, I believe, is the next one if you're interested in signing up to volunteer.
Oh, my God. Well done. Kristen, our city captain's the best. We've got like 9 countries and 36 cities that are currently active, and it's just awesome. It's like I'm so proud of it, but it's not like I'm so proud of it. I'm like,
it's bigger than you.
We should be proud of it.
I love it. Okay, so we are going to break here for a few questions from the audience if anyone would like to ask a question. If not, we're going to just close up here. So we have anyone from the audience who's interested in asking a question? There's a mic right here on the...
You can shout.
Oh, all right. You have to talk into the mic.
That way we can hear you on the interweb.
Yeah.
Don't be terrified.
I'm going to forget my question. My question is, how did you find out what recharged you and what was the best self-care? Was it a lot of trial and error? Did you read some awesome books? Was it through therapy?
That's
everything.
That's a great question. How did I find out what recharged me? What was my best way to recharge? I guess it's how did I find out? I guess it's just kind of partially observation. When you have people in your life that are that can see you when you can't see you, and they help remind you, and you're well, okay, well then maybe I just really need to go take a walk. I'm trying to think of how I figured that out. Oh, I know how. This is how. It starts with making your needs matter because your needs are there. And so that voice is always talking, you're just not listening to it. So if we're doing a massive press day and there's going to be 10 outlets that day and it's back to back to back to back, if we have a break, it's I would hear this need that would just be I really need some fresh air. I really hope I could take a walk. And instead of going, shut up, I would be oh, hey guys, I'm going to take a walk really quick. I'll be gone for 5 minutes. I think that's part of it. You just have to listen to the thing you're already telling yourself. Hopefully.
I love it. So insightful.
Ugh.
Well,
is it?
It is. Well, to wrap up, here we are. We're buffering. What is still buffering? What's next on the docket for you?
like still probably like, you know, I think you're always kind of on a journey of buffering. It just depends. You just enter into different stages of your life, or at least that's what I hope to do. You know, there are certain things that I know have stemmed from certain events in my past, and if I can recognize when that sort of reaction is happening, I can take care of it. I can start to calm it instead of letting it control me. Mm-hmm. And so going forward, you know, there's the rest of life to live. You know, it's not always going to be like this. So,
but there might not be a future. Let's live for today.
But we have to live for today. There's only today. It's only now.
That's true. This is the coolest moment I've had. So.
Oh, that's awesome. But yeah, I guess everything you're always kind of processing. But I'm ready to move into my adulthood and let my childhood stay in the past where it belongs.
I love it. Well, thank you so much for coming to Google today and having this talk with us.
Thank you, guys. Yay.